CL 650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call.
It's gonna be a fucking new year. Fucking new year.
I have to be careful when I say funky New Year. And welcome to our 2017, otherwise known as the Funky New Year. And today we're talking with Experts on Call about StrataLife. Key Pacific Property Management, along with a number of trusted strata industry professionals, are developing a resource designed to connect strata councils with high-quality, reputable strata-related service providers. And that's why we call it StrataLife. And the voice you hear every time we do this show is Drew Grout, Director of Strata Services from Key Pacific Property Management. Welcome back.
Happy New Year.
Thanks. Good to see you. And also we have Gordon Lai, Client Executive Vice President at CMW Insurance. Welcome back.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. And Albert Atfield is Project Manager of CanStar Restorations. Nice to see you, Albert.
Happy New Year to you.
All right. So let's get into it. We're going to go around the horn here and talk a little bit. Why don't we do it backwards? And instead of we'll end with Key Pacific. Now, Albert, your company that you work for is a restoration company. So when something goes sideways, you get the call, right?
Correct. Yes, we can address many different issues from floods, fires, wind, and traumas, et cetera, et cetera.
So that's what happens.
More or less.
And
yeah.
do you see the whole project through? Like, so someone has a flood in their kitchen and it affects that unit, maybe a unit below. Are you in there from beginning to end?
Traditionally, we would be in there from the beginning to end if we're the chosen contractor for that project.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually how it would work.
And you're a project manager, so you look after
Yes.
a file?
Correct.
So you're assigned some kind of damage to see it through?
Correct, yeah.
That's how it works. Okay. Now, we also have Gordon Lai here from CMW Insurance. Now, you're the first call that happens before they get CanStar in there is, we have a problem.
Well, it depends. First call could be to 911 or sometimes could be CanStar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think more often than not it might be CanStar.
Well, or the property manager. What happens with most stratas?
Okay, I've done it backwards. So, I should have
most
started.
stratas, actually, we call it a property manager.
I was going to say, it depends
And-
on the formula. If it's homes, it might be the homeowner
Yes.
that calls you first. If
Yes.
it depends on the formula. and what it
Regardless,
is.
the insurance company is going to get called, right?
Yes.
So tell us what you do that's specific to StrataLife and how it differs from a sort of a detached home or a property owner other than typical homeowner.
A typical homeowner is mainly what you're going to find is that's classified under a section of insurance, what we call like personal lines, like car insurance. When we do stratas for the strata building, that's on a commercial level. So, of course, we would insure the whole strata corporation. And the insurance coverage is a little different because we don't really get into the contents of the individual, but we really look at the whole asset of the strata. We look at the liabilities. There's also
The common property.
the common property, and then there's the directors and officers that's involved in it. And so there's a lot of these different liability coverages that we also provide because it acts as a nonprofit. So it's not a business, but there's whole activities that's involved, right? They have committees. They could have recreational facilities. These days, say snow removal committee
I
or
was going to ask you.
volunteers.
Yeah, so if someone slips and falls and hurts themselves on the common property of a strata, and then there's some kind of claim or they want to sue the strata, then that insurance company gets involved. Is that how it works?
It would, yes. So with the weather we've been having the last little while, what's going to happen is, unfortunately, there's going to be claims that's going to come out of it for slip and falls. So, you see that usually through like a small claims, action. So usually what'll happen is the property manager will notify us, hey, we received this, notice of claim and we need help. So we would then file it with an insurance company, have an adjuster and legal counsel sign to it and look after that.
So so you're basically specializing in insurance for the strata council and the what do you call the building? It's
Common property?
The common property,
Yep.
that sort of thing, not individual
Yes,
units.
So we're looking after the strata corporation as a whole.
That's what I was looking for,
Yes.
Strata Corporation. And then we bring in Drew Grout from Key Pacific Property Management, and you're the management company for a lot of stratas, so you would be maybe the first call or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that?
think more often than not we'll be the first contact, and we'll try and assess just what happened and to help us determine who to call.
Mm-hmm. Ghostbusters. Yeah.
I would say more often than not would be if we're having to, we're calling the CanStar, the trade to mitigate, provide some emergency service, and to give us an eyes up look at what's going on. Often we'll be concerned as to whether or not there will be a claim. Mm-hmm. Typically, we would not want to call the insurance company unless we felt pretty sure it's going to be a claim. But when in doubt, we always will. So we want to get a handle on it, not so much because of the strata insurance, but because if it involves just a couple of owners and it's below the insurance deductible, strata insurance is going to play a role. Then we have to kind of step in and work with the restoration company and the two homeowners, because it becomes a two homeowner issue, not a common property strata issue.
All right, let's get into a bit of the ice and snow, or a lot of ice and snow we've had for quite a few weeks now. Are some buildings better at clearing this stuff up than others? They have maybe a lawn and garden company that does some shoveling and salting in the winter, but do some stratas go without?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Many of the landscape contractors will provide that sort of service. You pay for it. It's part of the contract. Many others will employ a snow removal salting contractor seasonally. And there are some stratas who, usually the smaller ones, will just take it upon themselves to do some basic snow removal and some salting, and get through the season that way.
It's so uncommon, right? So we can go 4 or 5 years where we only have 1 or 2 snowfalls and it's gone in one day. This year, it's like we're living somewhere east of here. Yeah. It's been nonstop.
It's what's interesting is at the annual general meetings when you're going through the budgets and people are looking at the snow removal line going, is that enough? Other people are saying, why do we have snow removal anyway? It never snows. Mm-hmm. The reality is it doesn't matter whether you have $100 or $1,000 or $5,000. You're going to do what you need to do just because of the liability issues. No one's at a strata is going to say, we didn't remove that ice because we didn't have the money in the budget.
Mm-hmm. It has to be done.
You got to do it.
Have you seen any complaints of slip and falls in this past month?
In this past month, I've become aware of one incident of a slip and fall on the city sidewalk that's a strata would be responsible for.
Because they have to clear. I think it's by 10 the next morning you have to clear the sidewalk.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an unusual thing.
But nobody enforces it.
Yeah. Fortunately, I don't believe this person was seriously injured, but it could have been, that's what you want to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole cultural thing we have here where people just put their head in the sand or the snow and hope it'll go away. But it's so treacherous. I mean, it's just been unbelievable, the weather we've had.
Yeah, and it's been a tenuous thing for the snow removal contractors. We saw before Christmas where they ran out of salt.
Yeah.
Nobody can get salt. Mm-hmm. The city ran out of salt. Mm-hmm. What do you do? They're considering sand.
Well, that's what they've been doing. They've been sanding now.
Yeah.
My dog doesn't like that. All right. So, and not that anybody was asking if my dog liked it. But anyway, let's get into the mailbag and see what's going on here. This one, I think we'll go to Albert first. Our strata has some expensive emergency repairs in the last couple of years. We'd like to do what we can to prepare for future emergencies. What can homeowners do to prepare for loss in a strata unit?
Well, and from my point of view, I would think you want to concern yourself with shutting off your water supplies to your toilets and stuff if you're leaving your unit, making sure you're taking care of your exterior hose bibs so they don't freeze up. That's probably one of the biggest ones. Some of the units may have the shut-off valve within their unit, so they have to address that on behalf of everybody within the council or the strata. So little things like that. There's other issues such as load-bearing issues with snow on carport decks and roofs. You should address trying to remove some of that if you can. You can't expect the council and the strata to do everything, so I think people have to take a step and try and be a little proactive and help each other out.
Yeah, so it's the not so common sense.
Well, yeah, and this year's been an unusual year, and one of the things I've firm believe in is that if you address it the first snowfall and find some type of rhythm in taking care of it, you don't have the ice issue and the buildup.
Well, that's a problem. Is a lot of people just left the snow and then it became ice.
Exactly.
If they had cleared it while it was slushy, it wouldn't have turned into ice, right?
Yeah, so I think there's a culture here that's not used to having it, and that's something that maybe people need to be educated a little bit more on.
All right, what kind of leads into this water heater issue? We recently had a broken water here, and it leaked into our Strata unit. I felt helpless watching the water spread while waiting for the contractor to arrive. When a loss occurs, is there anything I can do to limit the damage? Move things away from the water? Would that be?
Yeah, I mean, you want to always try and block your furniture and stuff and protect that. The first thing I'd want to do is, one, make sure it's safe and shut the supply off. That's obvious. You want to stop it. That's the first part of the mitigation. After that, I mean, empty your linen closet, maybe throw some towels down, absorb up some of the moisture as best as you can. And that's about it. And then call your council and have a restorer come and help you out.
Well, and I guess the number one thing is, and that's part of the question, is what can we do ahead of time in future emergencies? It's that someone other than the contractor maybe should know where those shutoff is.
I'll let Drew answer that one.
Well, if you're talking about a heater in a townhouse, for instance, it's your appliance, your responsibility. If it's properly installed, it's going to have a drip pan, which with a very sudden what's the word I'm looking for? A sudden leak may not be able to handle that volume of water, but they're designed to take the leaks and direct them to a drain, so you don't have that problem. But if you have a large leak, it's probably not going to be able to handle it, and then it'll start to move into other areas. And like you say, you just have to think ahead and move things away. But if you're in a condo, it's a different story. Those units are usually down in the basement and that sort of thing, and the large volume, often they're not going to cause damage to the common property because there's a concrete room, that sort of thing. But there are some facilities where they have these items on second floors and that sort of thing, and that's where you can really run into problems.
And some older buildings, they didn't have the drains and the drip pans where the washer dryer are and hot water, because it's just an older. I mean, I have an old house and it doesn't have a drain next to where the hot water tank is.
Right.
So that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah. So part of it too is these things will leak when they're near or out of warranty. You should probably look at changing them out, whether they're leaking or not, at or about the warranty period. If you do it before warranty, from what I understand, the warranty companies will they're not just going to replace it on failure. They'll deal with it.
They'll stand on it.
Yeah.
It's like anything. I think if you consider wear dating on certain aspects of your home, so what I'm referencing is if a hot water tank is supposed to last 8 years, well, change it at 7.
What is the lifespan of a hot water tank?
It varies from product to product, but it's 3, 5, 10, 12.
Yeah, they do.
You can buy extra warranty sometimes.
Yeah, and I use 8 because that's one that seems to be in about the middle, so that's why I reference 8. So if I was to give advice to anybody, always in any faucets, anything, consider wear dating. How old is it? Maybe you should be rebuilding a particular part of your washers or whatever it is on your faucets, your toilet tanks. Look at all those things because everything does wear out.
That's Albert Atfield, project manager of CanStar Restorations. We're going to get back to more of your calls, not calls, I should say, questions, because we got a little off topic with the snow at the beginning there. And next we're going to talk about insurance and StrataLife next on CL 650.
This is Experts on Call on CL 650.